It is Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. No silly little stupid April Fool's jokes on this program.
I didn't even know it was April 1st today. Oh, my God.
Surprise.
I got to watch out.
I know. I can't stay. Do you like April Fool's jokes? Like, do you deal with them? Or are you like, gosh, can we just move on to April 2nd?
Honestly, I'd never really thought about April Fools because it's always the start of the season. So you're like trying to like be locked in as a baseball player. And then inevitably somebody does something stupid. And I'm like, it kind of like makes me mad. So maybe I'm like the Grinch of April Fools. I don't know. I've just never really like practiced it. But you know what? I might do something to my kids today. Because they practice it like they don't know.
Oh, no, they don't know. But you could get kids really good. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. That's all. All right, I got a pair of tips of the cap. This one I didn't tell you about. Have you ever heard of the name Cito Culver, Trevor Plouffe?
Have you heard of Cito Gaston? And Culver's is a burger chain.
Okay, so no, but if you put the two together, you get Cito Culver, baseball player who retired on Monday. He was the 32nd, so I think that would make him a comp pick of the 2010 draft by the New York Yankees. Never made it to the show, played in the Yankees organization for 7 years, I think Miami for 1, and then had been playing indie ball and winter ball the rest of the way. You call this guy a baseball lifer who grinds. He put a post out. It just kind of caught me because it was a cool story. He said he was obsessed with baseball since the age of 3. He thanked the game for all of the ups and downs it provided, the 0 for 20s, the long bus rides. It shaped me into the man that I can be proud of. You know, there are tons of stories of a Cito Culver out there. I tip my cap to a guy who's, you've played with dudes who, after 7 years in an organization, that's it. Like, it's time to move on, find the next part of your life. He continued on for another 8 years, which I think is kind of cool.
Honestly, there's way more stories of that than there are success stories in baseball. And I love it. I love that because baseball does teach you a ton of life lessons, and it does, there's certain advantageous situations you can find yourself in after playing baseball. But yeah, I mean, these guys, the guys that grind like that and then don't make it, you feel bad for them? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, they'll all tell you that it was worth it, which is cool.
Yeah, and his parting message was, I don't really know what's next, but thank you, baseball. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Got another quick tip of the cap. We all need a little bit of a sense of humor around here, particularly in the umpiring world. Chris Guccione, behind home plate in Baltimore, they had a replay review, and he came out with this announcement.
Said he's going to try not to.
After review, the call at second is confirmed. He is out.
Oh, this is good theater.
First base is safe.
Chris, you know how to play a crowd. Get that guy to Vegas. And a little bit of a smile from him and a smile from Brandon Hyde as well.
I wish we would see more of this. We saw, I forget which umpire it was in spring training where they were doing the ABS system. And he said, that call was shockingly right. We need more of that.
I agree. I love Gucci too, by the way. He's one of the good umpires. Him and I used to go to the train park in Arizona during spring training. He had a young son and Teddy was young at the time. So we used to see each other there all the time. Actually became like buddies with him. He's one of the good ones, Chris. So that's attaboy.
They could take the lead from Bill Kennedy. He is a veteran official in the NBA. In the NBA, when they have a call, they go over, they look at it at the scorer's table, they make the announcement into the microphone, kind of like this one that I'm using. He totally hams it up. I mean, he is great. So go check him out somewhere on Twitter. And more baseball umpires. We need more personality like that. Let's go.
You
rock.
And I like umpires.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it's actually amazing how good they are at their jobs. As much shit as we give them, they are remarkably good at it.
I think most of the time people who watch baseball think, oh, all these umpires stink. I don't like them. But really, there's some really funny people out there, and they are good at their jobs. There are a couple that stink.
Totally.
About that.
Totally. I'm not saying that, but there you go. All right, so Padres, by the way, improved to 5-0. They get a win over Cleveland. It's the first time in franchise history they're 5-0. We talked about that extensively on Monday's show. So if they keep winning, we'll circle back to them. But I want to start not with the Dodgers, who improved to 6-0 for the first time since 1981. But they dumped Atlanta to 0-5. So they're 0-5 for the first time since 2016. That was not even the worst part of their day. Buckle up, Braves fans. Ronaldo Lopez, starting pitcher, placed on the injured list, shoulder inflammation. That wasn't even the worst part of their day. Jurickson Profar, their prize free agent signing, suspended 80 games for PEDs. Of course, he signed a 3-year, $42 million deal in the offseason. We'll see him again in June, but not for the playoffs. He released a statement apologizing, adding, quote, "I've been tested my entire career, including 8 times last season alone, and never tested positive. I would never willingly take a banned substance, but I take full responsibility and accept MLB's decision." First of all, are you shocked that we still have to deal with this shit?
I am. But here's the thing, Chris. We're going to continue to deal with stuff like this because look at what happened to Jurickson Profar. Essentially a journeyman who signs for $1 million. And look, I don't know if he was on it last year, but certainly casts some doubt that if he was clean or not last year. Goes and has a career year at age 31, capitalizes on it. Yeah, sure, he's going to miss half the year this year, so half the pay this year, but he still has 2 more years after this. It's fully guaranteed. So like guys are going to continue to do it if they think that they can benefit from it and make money. And that's honestly, it's a shame, dude. I can't stand it. It really pisses me off. Like all you should want, or all I want, is a level playing field. That's it. Like, let's all go see who's the best player. Let's all go compete on the same level. When we start adding performance enhancing drugs, it pisses me off because a lot of guys like Cito Culver don't get the freaking chance who are clean, and guys who get popped, like, they're getting chances, they're getting paid. It's bullshit, Chris. So, I mean, I'm not surprised because there is still it's not incentivized, but like in certain cases like this, I mean, he's making money.
Making a lot of
it's just it won't go away. I wish it would. There's nothing that pisses me off more as a baseball player than some dude trying to cheat the game and keep guys who are doing it the right way out of jobs. That's what really, really pisses me off, Chris.
So the 3-year, $42 million deal, it isn't 14, 14, 14. I was curious about this. It is 12, 15, 15. And I wonder if he knew, because you find out, this isn't like, hey, they got you yesterday. You find out, I think, pretty early that you're going to get suspended once all the appeals are done and all that sort of stuff. I am curious if he knew, hey, told his agent, lower my salary the first year and make it a little higher in years 2 or 3. I might get popped. I might.
Here's
I doubt it, but it crossed my mind.
Why are you still doing this after you signed a deal? Like, that's the craziest shit to me, Chris, is you say he was doing it last year. Okay. Because there's no reason you just start taking steroids after you get a deal, after a career year. Why would you just start all of this sudden? That to me logically doesn't make any sense. Obviously, I don't know 100% for sure, but I'm using my brain here. Why would you continue? You just got paid 3 years, $42 million. It's guaranteed. Doesn't matter if you suck. You could be the worst player in the big leagues. You're going to get paid that money. Why would you continue to do it? That is, to me, I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't get that, but I do understand why guys are doing it. To get filthy rich. He's going to lose $5.9 million this year. He will still make 6.1, and then he will make an additional 30 over the next 2 years. So he's going to walk away with $36.1 million to have his name stained and to have his teammates and his organization deal with this, which is the bigger question I've got. If you were in that Atlanta Braves locker room, which I was yesterday, and I'll give you that experience in just a second, how pissed would you be at Jurickson Profar, or would you just say, well, I got to treat it like he's injured?
I mean, I've been in that situation before. We signed Irvin Santana to an extension, I believe, and I don't know if it was a free agent signing or he was extended after 1 year. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a similar situation to this, and he all of a sudden got popped in spring training, and it was just, I had the same reaction, like, what? Like, you just got paid. What are we doing here? You just, honestly, you write him off. You just, like, don't even think about the dude. He's not part of the team anymore. He's not going to be around. Like, you just move on. That's all you can do. The next guy up, somebody's going to get an opportunity who deserves it, and you just treat it that way. At least that's how I did. Like, I just was like, out of sight, out of mind, man. Like, not happy with you, but not focused on you at all.
So I had to do a bunch of content for Dugout Discussions with Chris Rose with the Braves. I had it set up, and I got there, and there's a time where locker room is open before the game for about 45 minutes. It's mandated by the league. It doesn't mean that you have to be in there as a player. It doesn't even mean that you have to answer questions. You could say, hey, I'm just not talking today. That's perfectly fine. The media understands that. The players understand that. It's a working relationship. When I walked in there were 3 Latin guys playing video games, and that was it. Nobody else was in the clubhouse, which is really odd for that time of day this early in the year. Nobody, and I was like, oh my God, they want no part of this. Well, eventually guys have got to come in because they got to get ready to go stretch and things of that nature. So in walk Olsen and Riley, and the local media flocks right to them. And they have to be the mouthpieces of this team.
Yeah.
And here's what the one thing I would say. Suspend the guy, but that dude has to face the media.
Hell yes.
Why should his teammates have to sit there and answer questions? Austin Riley's like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, we got a ball game tonight. We're moving on. This isn't his fault. This isn't Matt Olson's fault. This isn't Ozzy Albies' fault. This isn't any of those guys' fault. You know whose fault it is? It's Jurickson Profar. And at the end of the day, I'm curious, when Ervin Santana walked back in the clubhouse, was he welcomed back with open arms? Because he was actually a really good dude, I thought.
I still love him. Like, I don't.
But weren't you mad at him?
Resentment towards him, but to me, it was like out of sight, out of mind. When he came back, yeah, you have to welcome him back in with open arms. He's on the team, and he should help your team. Like, so you have to do that. But yeah, at the beginning, there's nothing worse than having to sit and talk about one of your teammates and some dumb thing he did. I'm like, what? Exactly what Olsen said or Riley said. We got a game. Like, time marches on, baby. We got to go play.
Well, the most important part of this equation is that Profar will not be available for the playoffs. So now we saw
again, Chris.
Right. We don't know what sort of player he's going to be at this point.
Alex Anthopoulos calling him the second best hitter in the free agent pool this year. And now all of a sudden, we don't know what we're going to get.
Look, Jurickson Profar has to apologize to 2 groups of people, in my opinion. He doesn't have to apologize to fans. He has to apologize to ownership.
Yes, he does have to apologize to fans. It's a joke.
Well, wait, why should he? I don't ever think that you should. Well, okay. That one I'll listen on. So maybe 3 groups. You could apologize to fans, but more so, he has to apologize to ownership because I think he stole some money here. He definitely has to apologize to his teammates. And who knows if he was allowed to even go talk to them in a setting. I didn't read that necessarily, but I doubt he was. I
don't remember exactly. I think Santana spoke to the team.
Yeah. You better own up. And you better be ready for whatever guys are going to say to you because he fucked them. He did. He screwed his teammates. That's like, usually I don't care about anything. All I care about is the reaction of the 25 other dudes in a clubhouse. And he screwed them.
Well, that was their move too. So, okay, yeah, they saved that money. They don't have to pay him the $5 million. But where are they going to go give somebody $5 million that's supposed to replicate what he was supposed to give?
Right.
Like, they could have spent that in the off season and brought somebody else in. They could have reallocated it then, but now there's no time. There's nobody out there that you're going to bring in.
So they expect, Acuna to be back at
Verdugo signed.
They've got Kelnick, they've got Brian De La Cruz, and they just signed Verdugo, right? And he'll be ready in a couple of weeks. So we'll see where it all goes. It's bad. It's bad for the Braves. It stinks for the players that are left behind. And you know what? Jurickson Profar isn't going to give a shit about what we say because at the end of the day, over 3 years, he's going to still earn $36.1 million from the Atlanta Braves. There you go. I got to turn on my light here. There we go.
There you go. I hate PEDs, man.
Some would say I've been left in for years. So now that helps. Let's move on to this. Red Sox a loser and a winner on Monday. Fell to Baltimore 8-5, but then reportedly inked Garrett Crochet, their new left-hander, to a 6-year, $170 million deal. That's according to our buddy Jeff Passan at ESPN. No pitcher has ever signed for that much money with fewer than 800 innings thrown in his career. Crochet is at 224 career innings. So how risky a deal is this for Boston?
I think it's pretty risky, Chris. I mean, I it's not that I don't like the deal, and clearly this was kind of like the plan all along. You give up those prospects, you bring him in, you want him to be there long term, and then does he look like a future ace? Yes, like metrically, eye test, everything. He looks like he is a bona fide ace. There's no doubt about that. But he's one Tommy John surgery. I guess you could look at that as a plus. Like he already got it out of the way. I guess you could look at it that way. But I think there's question marks about can you handle a bulk season? Can he throw 30 starts? He's never done it before. Can he throw, what is all that going to look like in the playoffs? There's a lot of things that he necessarily hasn't done. I'm not saying he can't do it because, again, just watch the guy pitch one time. You'll understand why they are willing to do this. But I think it's definitely risky, Chris. But the Red Sox are trying to build something. They're trying to keep people in place. They're talking to Christian Campbell right now about an extension. And they lock up Devers. They locked up Bregman. Like they are trying to have a sustainable core. And, they're not going to let this guy walk out the building. So this is what it took. I like the deal. I'm happy that they did it. I think it probably was the right move, but it doesn't come without risk.
Well, it kicks in 2026, and he's got an opt-out after 2030, I believe is what it is. So often when we get to free agency, you are paying players for what they have done and not what they will do. We have seen some horrible contracts, particularly pitching contracts, that have come along for the ride. So the two biggest ones we saw in the offseason were Corbin Burns, who's at 30 years old, gets $210 over 6 years, although he does have an early opt-out. Max Fried at 31, 8 years for $218. Now, those are guys who have accomplished much more than Garrett Crochet in this game. But I ain't so sure I don't want Garrett Crochet on the deal that he's at in his mid-20s. Is it risky? Sure. He hadn't thrown a pitch as a starting pitcher past the fifth inning last year once we hit July. They really kind of shut him down and babied him in Chicago. So we don't know exactly what he's got over a full season. It's also a little bit different pitching at Fenway Park as opposed to the worst team that we've ever seen. Every start counts for the Boston Red Sox. Most people never saw Garrett Crochet start. They saw some highlights, but they never watched a full start of his. So there's that side of it. Can he handle that and the pressures that come along with pitching in Boston? If I'm the Red Sox, I do take a chance on all of this. I think it makes sense. I think it's smart. And I just read those other two deals of Burns and Fried, and I don't mean to pick on them. They're just the latest in a pecking order of free agent pitchers that get $200 million deals. And to me, the Crochet one, makes more sense than either of those two.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like it, Chris. Again, everything points to this guy being what they expect him to be. But again, he's thrown 224 innings.
It is crazy, isn't it?
That's one Logan Webb season.
Right.
Sheesh. I should have been a pitcher, man.
Hey, timing is everything. It is that simple. Timing is everything in this business.
Should have been 6'7" and throw 100 from the left side. That's what I should have done.
Well, here's the one thing. Yeah, you should have been. Well, hey, at least you
6'6".
At least you were a pro athlete. Most of the people listening to this and your partner in crime here, for God's sake, could barely hit out of the infield. So at least you got a taste of it.
I would have loved to have seen you play baseball.
Hey, I was really good I was average in 8th grade. I hit 314. That was my last year of organized ball. And then I got afraid of the baseball. That's
when
what
you got all good looking, like, okay,
definitely
in front of the
camera
cameras where I need to be.
I've told you, brother. I finished really strong in that department in terms of whom I married, but I hopped on a few grenades back in the day.
Haven't we all, Chris?
God almighty. They probably felt the same way. I just want to let everybody know. It's true. Today's episode is sponsored by MLB 9 Innings, a Major League Baseball game you can play in the palm of your hands. MLB 9 Innings has a wide variety of game modes, from league mode, where users can play through a season, to live player versus player. 9 Innings has over 2,000 player cards to collect and use in your dream roster. MLB 9 Innings has the most up-to-date rosters, team logos, ballparks, and uniforms. 9 Innings has also added new historic players to the game, like Joe DiMaggio, Satchel Paige, Kirby Puckett, Derek Jeter, and one of the newest Hall of Famers in Adrian Beltre, but don't touch his head. You may have already seen it, but MLB 9 Innings has released an incredible trailer this year as well. Mike Trout's in it, Ken Griffey Jr.'s in it, even Greg Maddux is there. So check out the trailer on MLB 9 Innings official YouTube channel. Download and play MLB 9 Innings 25 today with the link in the description. All right. Reason I'm wearing the Cincinnati Reds hat, because Elly De La Cruz found the torpedo bat. He said he had never used it until Monday. I am guessing after that performance, it will make a return to his hands sometime soon.
Hard parked triple in. Destroyed. Deep right center. Off the base of the batter's eye. He is driven in 5. His first 2 bombs of the year come tonight.
Which of the 2 home runs was your favorite tonight?
Both. I like both. Both. Yeah. I really well. Both.
First of all, how cold did he look? Poor guy.
Yeah, he didn't even want to take that mask off his mouth. He's like, do I have to do this?
Were you a ski mask guy when you played early in the season? Because it got freezing in Minnesota. No,
it was so cold. Chicago, I think, actually Cleveland might have been the coldest place to play because of Lake Erie right there. I had just tried to trick myself and say, "You're not that cold. You're not that cold," and I was cold.
You know what's bizarre is that we'll sit through football games where it's like 10 degrees. But for whatever reason, when you are a fan and watching baseball at the beginning, late March or beginning of April, and it's 40 degrees, you're like, my God, this is the coldest I've ever been. It is a mental fuck, I think, is what it is.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never really thought about that. I feel like, yeah, I could go stand out at a football game when it's cold, but a baseball game is different. As a player, it's definitely different. You're standing around a lot more than a football player does. But
how cold do you get?
Pretty freaking cold, man. I mean, there are times where, again, mentally you just got to get over it. I remember my first year in pro ball, the first full season, I went to Beloit, Wisconsin, and I'm, a Southern California kid, never really played in the cold before, like never like that. It was shocking to me. I didn't know what to do. And then you learn over time, like, some tricks, and again, mentally you just have to get over it. But it's a different type of ball, man, playing in the cold.
All right, we'll get back to Elly in just a second. What is the best cold trick you ever learned?
Well, you can layer up, but then your movement is limited. So I would I didn't like my arms. It was not about your arms or anything like that. It's more about your core. So I would like get the good cold gear stuff and then just cut the sleeves off. So just my torso was warm. As long as you have a heater in the dugout, man, which you don't necessarily have in the minor leagues, you're fine. Guys, I never tried this, but guys swore by baby oil. You put baby oil on and then put your stuff on. It creates some sort of barrier. Yeah, not like you use it.
Oh, okay.
I know what you're doing with that.
Oh, all right.
This was just they put it on and then they put their clothes on, and I don't know if there was a barrier. People love that, but for me, it was layering the right way.
So let's get to Elly De La Cruz, who was smoking hot, 2 homers, 7 ribs, 11 total bases in that win over Texas. After Shohei, is Elly De La Cruz baseball's most talented player? This is not best, talented.
I don't think so. I mean, he's obviously up there, Chris. I'm not trying to take anything away from this guy. He's one of my favorite players to watch in all the game. I think it's Bobby Witt, and I'd even go Aaron Judge after that. And then I'd probably put Elly De La Cruz as number 4, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Witt is just, he kind of does everything that Elly does, but has a little bit of more of a, I'd say, more mature approach at the plate. So I'll give him the edge there. I mean, have very similar skill sets. And then Aaron Judge is just so dang good hitting the ball. And we forget that he played center field last night. And go look at center field in the big leagues right now and what those dudes do offensively. For Judge to be able to have the power that he has and still be able to play center field is you have to like realize how good that is.
Yeah, you said last night. You meant last year, but yes, you're 100%.
I said last year, didn't I?
No, you said last night.
Oh, well, I meant last year.
Yeah, we know. We're just correcting you. That's all. I think you've got the order right, and the only thing I'm trying to think of is would I put Judge ahead of Witt, because we've never seen a position player of his size come close to anything that he does. I mean, he is the largest position player in the history of the sport. I'm telling you, if you've never stood next to him, and I have the good fortune of working in baseball and football, there are defensive ends that would look at him in the NFL and be like, my God. And that's saying something, because those people are chiseled out of granite. And for his movement is what always amazes me the most. When a guy is that big, he's a little clunky, and you can't help but be when you're freaking 6'7" and 270 pounds. He is so fluid. Watch him when he runs from first to third. That's the sort of stuff that amazes me, is how wonderful an athlete he is.
Yeah, all these guys are so incredibly talented. I think those four, I think that's the right four to have as far as just pure talent on the offensive side.
Yeah. I do think that because we didn't even talk about him yesterday when we were dealing with the whole torpedo bats thing. I mean, his weekend was unreal. Producer Dan just put this in our chat that in Judge's last 127 games, 362, 496, 816, 32 doubles, 56 homers, 257 WRC plus, and 11.5 FWAR. That's 127 games.
I love Dan. We're complimenting Judge, Dan. We are.
Well, come on. When have we ever ripped Judge other than his playoff performance? That's it. And that's the only thing that has been up for discussion with him. But I do want to circle back to Elly De La Cruz. In that post-game interview he had with Jim Day, he was talking about, even though he was freezing his ass off and wanted to get inside as quick as possible, he did make the point that Jim asked him, what's the difference between last year's version of Elly and this year's? And he said, I'm more disciplined at the plate. And I feel like that's something I'm going to carry through. When he does that, when he doesn't stop chasing pitches, but when he gets more refined in his ability to read the strike zone, look out. Because I think there is such another gear with this kid that he could be a 9-10 WAR player pretty easily.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that's the one thing I keep pointing to, but that's the one thing that will get better with his age is, the understanding of the strike zone. It just takes time. And if, like you said, once he gets that on base percentage up, the chase rate down, there is another level. And I do see him being in the running for multiple MVP awards. Like, that's just the kind of player he is.
And I don't think there are going to be very few switch hitters in baseball history who could be able to hit a 470-foot home run from either side of the plate.
And the power will increase as well, Chris. Once the plate discipline comes, swinging at better pitches, slugging percentage goes up, and then I could see this guy one-dotting it in the future.
Wow. That's a big leap.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a 100-point leap in OPS plus from last year.
Yeah, he was at 809 OPS last year, but again, you look at he hit 260, 340 on base percentage, 470 slug. Like I can see him being a 280 guy, 380 on base, and then get that slugging up. And
okay, let's move on to a little Midwest baseball. Kansas City kept Milwaukee winless. Pitching starved Brewers, they got pummeled in their home opener 11-1. Not sure how many torpedo bats were used in that Royals victory. Meanwhile, the White Sox, they beat up on Trev's Twins 9-0.
10 miles an hour off.
Got him looking for strikeout number 9. 3 strikeouts for Perez here in the 6th.
He's got a no-hitter through 6. He's been brilliant today. I'm thinking they got a lot out of him. What a job by Martin Perez.
What a job, Stoney. No question. That's where his day would finish with 6 shutout innings. What is harder to explain in the early going so far? Milwaukee's horrible start, the White Sox dominant starting rotation, or the looking clueless?
I see Dan's already tried to make me answer it with this Twins look clueless banner right here. Jeez.
Well, they have.
I think you can explain Milwaukee. Like they're dealing with a ton of injuries right now. And I know we like to say they can create pitchers out of thin air. But Ashby's out, Savali now, Gasser, Hall, Myers, Woodruff. It's a ton of pitchers that'll come back, and they've been serving some meatballs up. Like Nestor will be better than that. And the Yankees, had a great offensive series. I think you can explain that one. I think you can even explain the Twins. It's not great. It hasn't been pretty. They've walked way too many people. They can't hit right now, but they haven't been able to hit outside at all. I was talking to Morneau about this. Like the weather's been too bad. So the routine has been thrown off. I don't know. I think you can explain that. I don't know how you explain the White Sox pitching staff. I think that's the one where I'm going with right now. Dude, right now, 3rd in WHIP, 3rd in batting average against, 1st in ERA, 2nd in homers allowed. I believe they've only given up 3 earned runs all year. And Martin Perez has found the fountain of freaking youth. I mean, that guy was a veteran when I was playing. He's still kicking. The guys besides Sean Burke, who I think might just be an absolute stud, the guys that are thrown up there, like they've pitched. We've seen them in the big leagues and hasn't been this good. So I don't know how you really explain it. Maybe it's, hey, you played the Angels and then you play, by the way, the Angels are 3-1. You played the Angels, then you played the slumping Twins. Maybe that's how you explain it. But I think to me, that's the one that's like, what?
Enjoy the first week because it has been a great ride. No earned runs by their starting pitching this year. They are the 4th team to do that in the first 4 games of a season since 1974. So this has been 23 innings, and the White Sox starters have not allowed an earned run. Previous mark to start a season was 21 back in 1947. You talked about the guys who are doing it so far. Tonight, the Twins will get their hacks at Shane Smith, who has thrown fewer than 7 innings above Double-A ball in his career.
6 shutty coming.
Yeah, you could smell it right now. I am wondering a little bit about your Twins, who so far have led after just 1 inning so far in 36 innings of baseball. They pulled Buxton and Correa yesterday after a single at bat. Now, Rocco's explanation afterward was, we've got Tuesday and then we've got a day game on Wednesday. They're both guys who are veterans who have dealt with injuries, particularly Buxton. The smartest way to keep them healthy is to get them off their feet. But after 1 at bat, Trev?
I don't know. They do things a little differently there. And sometimes it is very frustrating as a fan, even as a broadcaster to think about. I mean, I guess I understand the reason. They better play those next 2 games. They better play today and tomorrow. They better play both. And I don't care if it's a day game after a night game. Like if you're taking them out on a Monday after 1 at bat, that means you're saving them for those games. Right?
It's bizarre. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's been obviously a horrible start for them. And all these teams that I picked to win the division or be in the playoffs. The Braves haven't won a game. Did the Tigers win a game yet?
Yes, they won last night.
Okay, so they got their first win. Twins, Brewers, what are we doing, baby?
Yeah, there have been some challenging moments here in week 1, but it's always fun to see that because I love to see people push the panic button. Now let's leave the show with this and file it under, well, it's just 1 game. It was the first game in the history. I know people don't want to call them the Sacramento A's. They're just going by the Athletics, but it was the first home game that they played in the city of Sacramento. And the Cubs are like, yes, more, please.
Center field going back. Blade. It's off the wall. Racing towards second. Go. Here we go. And he's in. Oh, my. We got a cycle.
Yeah, we do. Carson Kelly with the Cubs' first cycle since Mark Grace did it in 1993. An 18-3 shellacking of the Athletics up there. Like, how I don't even know if the word is excited, but how much did you pay attention to festivities in a new city that's going to be their home for at least 3 years? The whole bit.
So the more and more I thought about here and also, out in Tampa, what they're doing, the only experience that I have, the only like way I can equate it is when the Chargers moved from San Diego and they played at the Carson Center, which is a soccer stadium, which held, I believe, like 15 to 20,000 people.
Yeah, I think it was low 20s.
And I went and saw a game there.
I did too.
Awesome, Chris.
Amazing.
It was awesome. Like you're watching the NFL players so close. I actually sat, it was me and Phil Hughes. We sat on the playing surface. They had like couches that you could like rent. We couldn't see the game at all because there's the linemen and all the people standing on the sidelines were huge. You couldn't see the game at all. But I remember it being like such a very unique experience, something that like I knew wasn't gonna like be there for very long. So I guess that's kind of how I'm equating it in Sacramento, in Tampa right now. Like I'd go see games there. It's unique. I know they're gonna be there for a couple years, but I don't know. I guess the novelty will wear off eventually. But to me, that always kind of stuck with me. That going to see the Chargers at the Carson Center was awesome. So maybe that's how we have to look at it right now.
Yeah, they announced a sellout crowd of almost 12,200, although I also then later read that if they open up the lawn fully and they pack that, then it gets over 13,000. I am curious. I do want to make it up there at some point. Huh?
I'm going. You should come up when I go. I'm doing the games beginning of June.
It's not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea. So once again, whenever I'm going to talk about the Athletics, I'm going to feel terribly about it because I have had a team ripped from my soul as well. The 3 years I didn't have the Cleveland Browns, I know people will laugh and be like, well, they've caused you more pain since they came back in the league in 99 than the 3 years without it, which is wrong. That is not. You feel soulless as a football fan when your team is not around. Sundays when everybody's going, yay, this is so much fun, and living and breathing and dying with every snap, and you don't have that passion. So I feel for the good people of Oakland that do not have their team, even though they've only moved. How far is Oakland from Sacramento? What is it?
I want to say it's like an hour and a half
or something.
Hour and a half.
How many miles is Oakland from Sacramento? 82 miles. There you go. So I'm always going to feel for you. I do want to see the experience. The one thing I would not be looking forward to, did you see the picture of the press tent that they had to construct?
Tent is a good, I don't know, that's a shed.
I was looking around there, and from pictures, I couldn't tell.
Where is that, by the way? That looks like, is that an abandoned parking lot? Like, what do we got going on there?
It's like next to the port. It doesn't look like there's air conditioning in there, which is fine on March 31st when you're playing a game. It will not be okay in Sacramento on June 1st.
That looks so bush league.
It's horrible. And then did you see Seiya Suzuki have to run from the dugout through the outfield, either to go take a dump or to go do something? There's batting cages out there as well, but
so bad. Oh my God. Okay, maybe I don't want to go see a game there.
Oh boy. I mean, the MLBPA had to sign off on all this stuff, so they must be okay with it.
The same Beloit, Wisconsin, the field my first full season was at, did not have bathrooms in the dugout. So you had to walk through the stands to get to your clubhouse. So yeah, like if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to like leave, and like fans would, hey bro, and like trying to give you a high five. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm going to the bathroom.
Well, make sure that you high-five the player on the way out and not on the way back from the bathroom.
Shout out Beloit, Wisconsin, man. I'm talking a lot of crap about it. I had a great time there. Madison, too. Woo!
Well, Madison. Yeah, I know about your times in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, you do. I'll never forget it.
All right. We're full bore. We are 5 days a week. Don't forget to hit a like for us. Hit a subscribe if you're a first-time joiner of Baseball Today. We greatly appreciate it. You guys have been creating some amazing numbers for us lately, and it just allows us to do bigger and better things. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Can you just end the session as Fred Durst, please? You got the outfit on right now. Turn that thing around.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Yes.
You know, all of our younger viewers and listeners are all going to Google who is Fred Durst.
Yeah, Google him.
But if you look at the picture, hold on, I'll give it to you. There it is. There's the Fred Durst.
So good.
That is it. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Fred Durst. We will see you Wednesday here on Baseball Today.